The signal came from nowhere. Captain Yun Dae-ho stood on the bridge of the U.E.S. Horizon, Earth's finest exploration ship, and stared at the screen with eyes that could not believe what they saw. The signal was old, very old. It used codes that Earth's Navy had stopped using 200 years ago. But that was not the strange part. The strange part was the music. Someone out there, at the edge of the galaxy where no human had ever traveled, was playing an old Korean folk song. "Run it again," Dae-ho said quietly. Lieutenant Kang Soo-mi, his communications officer, pressed the buttons. The song filled the bridge once more. It was a lullaby. Dae-ho's grandmother used to sing it to him when he was a child. His hands began to shake. "Sir," Soo-mi said, her voice barely a whisper, the language in the distress signal. "It is Korean, but it is old Korean. The kind people spoke 300 years ago. For 50 years, humanity had traveled among the stars. They had joined the Galactic Union, a group of 42 alien species who had kept peace for 8,000 years. Humans had met creatures with 6 legs, beings made of light, and races that lived for 10,000 years. But they had never met other humans. There were no other humans. Earth was the only home humanity had ever known. Until now, Dae-ho made a decision that would change everything. Set a course. We are going to find out who is singing that song. The journey took 3 days. The horizon crossed into space that was not marked on any map. The crew grew nervous. Even the alien advisors on board, representatives from the Galactic Union, seemed worried. One of them, a tall creature with silver skin, told Dae-ho that this region was forbidden. Ships that went there did not come back. Dae-ho did not care. Someone out there was human. He had to know. They found the fleet on the 4th day. Soo-mi counted the ships on her screen. Her face went pale. 200 vessels, Captain. All of them armed. All of them. She stopped talking. On the main screen, the lead ship came into view. It was massive, bigger than anything Earth had ever built. Its hull was dark gray, covered in weapons that hummed with power. And on its side, painted in colors that had faded with time, was a flag. It was the flag of Korea, but it was wrong. The colors were different. The symbol in the center had been changed. It looked like Korea, but it was not Korea. "They are hailing us," Soo-mi said. "Put it through." The screen flickered. A face appeared. It was a man, perhaps 60 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen too much war. He wore a military uniform that looked almost familiar, almost like the ones Earth's admirals wore, but older, stranger. "I am Admiral Baek Tae-soo of the Wayfarer Fleet," the man said. His Korean was thick with an accent that Dae-ho had only heard in old movies. "You are from Earth." It was not a question. "Yes," Dae-ho replied. "I am Captain Yun Dae-ho of the United Earthship Horizon. We received your signal. We came to help." Admiral Baek laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Help? You came to help?" He leaned closer to the screen. "Do you know who we are, Captain? Do you know where we came from?" Dae-ho shook his head. "We are you," Baek said. "We are human. Our ancestors left Earth 300 years ago. They did not leave by choice. A hole in space, a rift in the universe, swallowed them whole. 10,000 of them. Scientists, soldiers, families, children. They were pulled into another dimension, another place where time moves differently. To you, 300 years have passed. To us, it has been 10,000. The bridge was silent. Soo-mi had stopped breathing. The alien advisors stepped backward, their silver skin turning gray with fear. 10,000 years, Baek continued. We built cities. We built ships. We fought wars. We conquered 200 worlds in our dimension. We became an empire. And every single day, we remembered Earth. We remembered the home that abandoned us. We did not abandon you, Daiho said. We did not know. The rift was never explained. We thought you were dead. We mourned you. You forgot us. Beak's voice was thunder. You moved on. You joined aliens. You laughed and played among the stars while we bled and died in the dark. We taught our children about Earth. We told them stories of the home we lost. And now, finally, we have found a way back. Daiho felt cold. What do you want? Admiral Beak smiled. It was the smile of a man who had waited 10,000 years for this moment. We want what is ours. We want Earth. We want our home back. And we will take it from anyone who stands in our way. Including you. The screen went dark. Captain. Su-Mi shouted. They are powering weapons. Daiho grabbed the arm of his chair. All ships evasive action. Get us out of here. The horizon shook as the first blast hit. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. On the screen, Daiho watched as the Wayfarer fleet moved like a single creature, surrounding his ship with perfect coordination. Return fire. He ordered. Sir, they are humans. They are shooting at us. Return fire. The battle lasted 7 minutes. The horizon was fast, but the Wayfarer ships were faster. They knew every move the horizon would make, because they had invented those moves 10,000 years ago. Earth's tactics were their tactics. Earth's tricks were their tricks. 3 of the horizon's escort ships were destroyed. Burning metal filled the void of space. Human screams echoed through the communication channels. We cannot win this, Su-Mi said, blood running down her face from a cut on her forehead. Captain, we have to run. Daiho watched the Wayfarer fleet on his screen. 200 ships, all built by human hands, all crewed by human hearts, all pointing their weapons at Earth's children. Get a message to Ambassador Park Ji-woo, he said quietly. Tell her what we found. Tell her that humanity is no longer alone in this galaxy. He paused, watching another escort ship explode. Tell her that we are at war with ourselves. The horizon fled. Behind it, the Wayfarer fleet did not follow. Admiral Beak watched the Earthship disappear into the stars. He did not need to chase them. He knew where they were going. Home. Soon. Very soon. He would follow. On the bridge of the horizon, Su-Mi sent her message to Earth, across the galaxy. In the halls of the Galactic Union, alien species received the news. They gathered in their councils, their tentacles and claws and silver hands trembling with fear. Humans had met other humans, and they were already killing each other. The galaxy would never be the same. The great hall of this Galactic Union fell silent when Counselor Yoon Hana finished speaking. 41 alien species stared at her. Some had eyes. Some had sensors. Some had things that humans could not name. But all of them looked at the small human woman standing alone at the center of the hall. And all of them were afraid. Let me understand, said the High Speaker. A massive creature with 8 arms and skin like blue stone. You are telling us that there are more humans. Humans that you did not know existed. And these humans have attacked you. Yes, Hannah said. Her voice did not shake. She had practiced this speech 100 times on the journey here. She would not show weakness. How many ships do they have? We believe over 200. Perhaps more. The hall erupted. Alien voices filled the air, speaking in languages that translation devices struggled to process. Hana heard words like impossible and dangerous and contained them. She stood still and waited. The High Speaker raised 4 of his arms. Silence returned. Counselor Yoon, Humanity joined our union 50 years ago. In that time, you have been acceptable members. You are emotional. You are short-lived. You breed quickly and think slowly. But you have followed our rules. You have kept the peace. The High Speaker leaned forward. Now you tell us that there is another humanity, one that has existed for 10,000 years, one that has conquered 200 worlds, one that is now attacking your colonies. Hana nodded. How is this possible? Dr. Imnari stepped forward. She was Earth's greatest Zene historian, a woman who had spent her life studying how species evolved across time and space. She carried a small device that projected images into the air. 300 years ago, Nari began, Earth experienced an event we call the Great Vanishing. 10,000 people disappeared in a single night. Scientists, military personnel, entire families. We searched for them for decades. We never found them. We believed they were dead. She pressed a button. The image showed a tear in space, a wound in reality that glowed with impossible colors. We now know that they were pulled through a dimensional rift, a doorway to another universe where the laws of physics work differently. In our universe, 300 years passed. In theirs, 10,000 years passed. They had time to build an empire. They had time to forget why they were angry. And they had time to remember. Remember what? The High Speaker asked. That they were abandoned. Nari's voice was soft. They believe Earth left them to die. They taught their children to hate us. For 10,000 years, generation after generation, they told stories of the home that threw them away. They called themselves the Wayfarers, the Lost Ones. And now they have found their way back. The hall was quiet again. Hana could feel the fear in the room. It was thick, like smoke. A counselor from a species called the Virith spoke up. The Varith were ancient, older than most civilizations in the galaxy. They had seen empires rise and fall. We have observed humanity for 50 years. We believed you were manageable, emotional but controllable. Your lifespans are short. Your technology was inferior to ours. We tolerated you because you seemed safe. The Varith counselor stood. He was tall and thin, with eyes that held the wisdom of ages. We were wrong. There are now two of you, two human civilizations, and you are already at war. Not with aliens, not with us, with yourselves. He looked around the hall. Do you understand what this means? Humans do not need an enemy. They create their own. They fight themselves with the same passion they would fight anyone else. We have seen species tear themselves apart before, but never this quickly, never this completely. Fleet Admiral Cho Wonshik stepped forward. He was an old soldier, gray-haired and scarred, with eyes that had seen every kind of war. He had been silent until now. You are correct, he said. We are at war with ourselves. And I will tell you something else. We do not need your help. The hall gasped. Admiral Hana began. No. Wonshik raised his hand. The Union needs to understand something. This is a human matter. These wayfarers are our lost children, our stolen brothers and sisters. We will fight them. We will stop them. And we will do it alone. The High Speaker leaned back. You refuse our assistance? I refuse your interference. Wonshik's voice was iron. If you send your fleets into human space, you will be caught between two human armies. Both sides will see you as a threat. Both sides will destroy you. This is not arrogance, High Speaker. This is truth. He turned to face the entire hall. Humans have been killing humans since we first picked up stones and sticks. We have fought over land, over gods, over ideas, over nothing at all. We are very, very good at it. The wayfarers have had 10,000 years to perfect the art, and so have we." He paused. "Stay out of our way. Let us settle this ourselves, or you will learn exactly how dangerous humanity can be." The silence lasted for a long time. Finally, the high speaker spoke. "We will observe, for now. But understand this, Admiral. If your war spreads beyond human space, if your conflict threatens the Union, we will act. We will contain both of your species, whatever the cost." One Shik nodded. "Understood." As the human delegation left the hall, Hannah walked beside One Shik. Her face was pale. That was a dangerous thing to say. It was the truth. One Shik looked straight ahead. "The wayfarers attacked 3 of our colonies this morning. New Seoul, Bizin Station, and the Daegu settlement. 12 million people dead or missing. They struck fast and they struck hard. They knew exactly where to hit us." Hannah stopped walking. 12 million? They used our own tactics against us. They knew our defensive patterns. They knew our response times. They knew everything. One Shik finally looked at her. His eyes were filled with something she had never seen in him before. Fear. "We are not fighting aliens, Counselor. We are fighting ourselves. A version of ourselves that has had 10,000 years to prepare for this moment. Can we win?" One Shik was quiet for a long time. "I do not know. But I know this. If we cannot stop them, no one can. The galaxy thinks they understand humans. They do not. They have never seen what we do to each other." Behind them, the alien counselors watched the humans leave. They spoke in hushed voices, making plans and calculations. Some wanted to help. Some wanted to destroy both human factions before they became a threat. Some simply wanted to hide. One old Verith counselor said nothing. He had lived for 4,000 years. He had watched species rise and fall. And he had never, in all his long life, seen anything like this. 2 human civilizations. Both brilliant. Both terrible. Both ready to burn the galaxy to defeat the other. He made a quiet note in his records. Humanity reclassify from manageable concern to existential threat. Reason. They do not need us to destroy themselves. They are perfectly capable of doing it alone. The war had only just begun. The battlefield smelled like burning metal and blood. Major. Song Ji-yan crouched behind a broken wall, her rifle pressed against her chest. Around her, the remains of Colony Andara 7 burned in the night. 6 months of war had turned this beautiful farming world into a graveyard. Major. Sergeant First Class Kim Ho-jun slid into cover beside her. His face was covered in dirt and ash. "Third squad is down. They hit us from the east. Wayfarers are everywhere." Ji-yan closed her eyes for a moment. 3rd squad. 12 soldiers. She had known their names, their families, their dreams. Now they were gone. How many enemies? She asked. At least 50. Maybe more. Ho-jun checked his weapon. They are moving like they know exactly where we are. Every time we set up a defensive position, they flank us. Every time we try to retreat, they cut us off. Ji-yan nodded. Of course they did. The Wayfarers used the same tactical manuals that Earth's military had written. They knew every strategy, every trick, every weakness. Fighting them was like fighting a mirror. "We hold this position," she said. "If they take Andara 7, they have a direct path to the inner colonies. Millions of people." Ho-jun looked at her. "Major, we have been fighting for 3 days without rest. My soldiers are exhausted. We have wounded that need medical care. We cannot hold much longer." "We hold," Ji-yan repeated. "Or we die trying." The attack came at dawn. Ji-yan watched through her scope as the Wayfarer soldiers advanced. They moved perfectly, covering each other, never exposing themselves unnecessarily. They wore armor that was similar to Earth's design, but more advanced, more elegant. They carried weapons that hummed with energy she did not recognize, and their faces. That was the worst part. Their faces looked just like her soldiers' faces. Same eyes, same skin, same determined expressions. If she did not know better, she would think they were her own people, because they were fire. Jian shouted that the battle was brutal. Wayfarer soldiers fell, but Earth soldiers fell too. The air filled with screams and explosions. Jian watched a young private named Li take a blast to the chest. He was 19 years old. He had joined the military to pay for his mother's medical treatment. He died looking confused. His killer looked exactly like his older brother. The fighting lasted for hours. By midday, Jian's forces had been pushed back to the colony's central building. She had started the battle with 200 soldiers. Now she had 43. Major. Ho Chun's voice was hoarse. I captured one of them. A wayfarer. She is wounded, but alive. Ji Yan followed him to a small room where a woman lay on the floor. She was young, perhaps 25, with short black hair and a wound in her shoulder that had been roughly bandaged. She wore the uniform of a wayfarer commander. Name and rank, Ji Yan demanded. The woman looked up at her. Her eyes were filled with pain, but no fear. Commander Shin Yunbai, Wayfarer 3rd Fleet. Ji Yan studied her. Yunbai had a small scar above her left eyebrow. She had calluses on her hands from years of training. She looked like any soldier Ji Yan had ever served with. Why? Ji Yan asked quietly. Why are you doing this? Yunbai laughed softly. It hurt her shoulder, and she winced. You really do not know? Your ancestors left us. 10,000 years ago, we were pulled through the rift, and Earth did nothing. You moved on. You built your happy little civilization. You joined the aliens. And you forgot us. We did not forget. You forgot. Yunbai's voice cracked. My great-grandmother was on the first colony ship after the rift. She kept a diary. Every day she wrote about Earth, about the blue sky and the green mountains and the smell of rain. She died believing that Earth would come for her, that her home would not abandon her. Tears ran down Yunbai's face. She waited her whole life, 70 years, and nobody came. Ji Yan was silent. She thought about her own grandmother, who had also kept a diary, who had also written about loss and hope and waiting. We searched, Jian said softly. For decades we searched. The rift was a mystery we could not solve. We thought you were dead. Every year, on the anniversary of the Great Vanishing, we light candles. We say prayers. We remember. Yunbai stared at her. You light candles? 10,000 candles. One for each person we lost. The room was quiet except for the distant sound of gunfire. Ji Yan knelt beside Yunbai. They looked at each other, two soldiers, two enemies, two women who had been raised on stories of loss. I was told you were monsters, Yunbai whispered. That you laughed while we suffered. That you celebrated when we disappeared. I was told you were invaders, Eon replied. That you wanted to destroy everything we built. That you had no mercy. I have mercy. Yunbai's voice broke. I have too much mercy. Every time I kill one of your soldiers, I see my own people. I see cousins and brothers and sisters. I cannot sleep anymore. I hear their screams in my dreams. Ji Yan understood. She had the same dreams. Sergeant Ho Jun appeared at the door. Major, the wayfarers are pulling back. They received a signal. They are retreating. Ji Yan stood. Where are they going? Unknown. But they left quickly. Something big is happening. Ji Yan looked down at Yun Bai. The smart thing would be to keep her as a prisoner, to extract information, to use her as a bargaining chip. Instead, He-Un reached down and pulled Yun Bai to her feet. Go. What? Go. Return to your people. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them we light candles. Tell them we remember. Yun Bai stared at her in disbelief. You are letting me go? I am your enemy. You are my cousin, Ji Yan said. We share the same ancestors, the same blood, the same stories. I have been fighting this war for 6 months, and I am tired of killing my own family. She pressed a small device into Yun Bai's hand. This is my personal communication channel. If you want to talk, really talk, use it. Maybe together we can find a way to end this. Yun Bai looked at the device. Then she looked at Ji Yan. You are either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Ji Yan smiled sadly. Now go, before I change my mind. Yun Bai left. Ho Jun watched her disappear into the smoke and ruin. Major, that was dangerous. Command will not be happy. Command can fight their own battles. Ji Yan picked up her rifle. I just met our enemy. She cries when she kills us. She has nightmares about our faces. She was raised on the same stories we were raised on. She looked at Ho Jun. She is not a monster. She is a human being. And this war is destroying both of us. That night, as Ji Yan tried to sleep among the ruins, her communication device buzzed. A message from an unknown sender. Thank you. For the candles. For remembering. I want to talk. Yun Bai Jun stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed her reply. I am listening. In a galaxy of aliens, 2 human women began a conversation. It was small. It was fragile. It was the first step towards something that might save them all, or destroy them completely. The dimensional rift was beautiful in a terrible way. President Ru. Su Jin stood on the observation deck of her ship and watched the swirling colors of the gateway. Purple and gold and colors that had no name twisted together like a wound in the universe. On the other side was New Gorieo, the Wayfarer homeworld. A place no Earth human had ever seen. Madam President. Captain Yun Dae Ho stood beside her. He had been chosen to lead the military escort for this mission. His hands rested on his weapon, but his eyes were soft with wonder. We are receiving clearance to proceed. The Wayfarers are honoring the truce. Su Jin nodded. Then let us go meet our lost family. The journey through the rift took only seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. The ship shook. Strange lights filled the windows. And then, suddenly, they were through. New Gorieo was beautiful. The planet hung in space like a jewel, covered in green forests and blue oceans. Cities sparkled on its surface, connected by bridges of light. Ships moved in perfect formations around it, thousands of them, a fleet larger than anything Earth had ever built. 10,000 years, Daeho whispered. They built all of this in 10,000 years. They are human, Sujin said. Give us enough time, and we can build anything. Or destroy anything. The Wayfarer ships escorted them to the planet's surface. They landed in a city called First Landing, the place where the original refugees had built their first home. It was ancient and modern at the same time, with buildings that reached toward the sky and monuments carved from stone that had stood for millennia. Commander Shin Yunbai met them at the landing pad. She walked with a slight limp from her shoulder wound, but her eyes were bright. Behind her stood 100 Wayfarer soldiers, watching the Earth humans with curiosity and caution. President Ru, Yunbai said formally, welcome to New Gorieo. Please follow me. The elder patriarch is waiting. They walked through streets filled with people. Wayfarer citizens stopped and stared. Children pointed and whispered. Some faces showed anger. Some showed hope. All showed confusion. They have never seen Earth humans before, Yunbai explained. Only in pictures and old videos. You are like ghosts to them. Stories that came to life. Su-Jin looked at the people around her. They dressed differently. They spoke with that strange, old accent. But their faces were so familiar. She saw her grandmother's eyes in an old woman selling fruit. She saw her brother's smile in a young man playing music on a corner. These were her people, separated by time, but connected by blood. The elder patriarch waited in a hall made of white stone. He sat in a simple chair, wrapped in blankets despite the warmth of the room. He was 400 years old, kept alive by medicines and machines that Earth had never invented. His name was Jang Q1, and he was the last survivor of the original refugees. Su-Jin knelt before him. It felt right. This man had been a young engineer when Earth lost him. He had spent 4 centuries building a civilization, mourning a home he thought was dead. Stand up, Q1 said. His voice was thin and rough, like paper rubbing against paper. I am not a god. I am just an old man who has lived too long. Su-Jin stood, elder patriarch. I come from Earth. I come to offer peace. Q1 laughed. It turned into a cough that shook his frail body. Peace. Do you know what peace means to us? For 10,000 years, we told ourselves that Earth was destroyed, that we were the last humans, that we had to survive no matter what, because humanity depended on us. He leaned forward, his ancient eyes burning with emotion. We built monuments to a dead world. We named our children after cities that no longer existed. We kept your languages alive, your music, your stories. Every generation learned about the home we had lost. Tears ran down his wrinkled face. And then we found you, alive, happy, playing among the stars with aliens who see you as pets. They do not. You forgot us. The words exploded from him with surprising force. We suffered. We bled. We died by the millions in wars you will never know. And you were out there, laughing, eating, making friends with creatures who would have watched us die without lifting a tentacle to help. Su-Jin was quiet for a moment. Then she pulled a small device from her pocket and placed it on the table between them. She pressed a button. A holographic image appeared. It showed a great plaza on Earth, filled with millions of people. They stood in silence, holding candles. 10,000 candles, arranged in a pattern that formed a giant teardrop. This is Remembrance Day, Su-Jin said softly. Every year, on the anniversary of the Great Vanishing, we gather. We light candles. We read the names of everyone who was taken. We tell stories about the people we lost. She pressed another button. The image changed. Now it showed a massive stone wall covered in names. Thousands and thousands of names, carved into black granite. This is the Wall of the Lost. It stands in the center of Old Seoul. Every child learns these names in school. Every citizen knows the story of the 10,000 who disappeared. She pressed the button again. The image showed a document, old and fragile, preserved behind glass. This is the search decree. For 100 years after the vanishing, Earth sent ships into space looking for you. We spent everything we had. We begged the aliens for help. We searched every corner of the galaxy. Her voice broke. We never found you. We never stopped looking. But we never found you. Q1 stared at the images. His hands trembled. You searched? For 100 years. We only stopped when we ran out of places to look. Su-Jin knelt again, taking his thin hands in hers. We did not forget you, Elder Patriarch. We mourned you. We honor you. And when the searching stopped, we kept your memory alive. Because you are our family. You are still our family. Q1 wept. The tears of 400 years poured out of him, and he could not stop them. He wept for his parents, who had died believing they were abandoned. He wept for his children, who had grown up hating a home that had loved them. He wept for 10,000 years of anger built on a lie. I was 23, he whispered. When the rift took us, I was an engineer. I had a girlfriend. I was going to ask her to marry me. He looked at Sujin with eyes that had seen too much. I have lived 400 years, and I never stopped missing Earth. I never stopped hoping that somehow, someday, I would go home. Sujin held his hands tighter. Then come home. Bring your people home. The war does not have to continue. We can be one humanity again. Commander Yunbai stepped forward. I will broadcast this conversation to the fleet. Every soldier deserves to know the truth. But as she reached for her communicator, the doors burst open. Admiral Beek Tae-Soo strode into the hall, surrounded by armed soldiers. His face was twisted with rage. No, he said. The fleet will hear nothing. This woman is lying. Earth is lying. They are trying to weaken us with false stories and fake tears. The evidence, Sujin began. Evidence can be created. Images can be forged. Beek drew his weapon and pointed it at Sujin. I have spent my entire life preparing for this war. My father spent his life preparing for this war. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, generation after generation, all of us have lived for one purpose, to take back what was stolen from us. He looked at Ku-1. Elder Patriarch, do not let this woman deceive you. Earth abandoned us. They let us suffer. And now they want us to forgive them? Q1 looked at the weapon in Beek's hand. Then he looked at Sujin's face, still wet with tears. Then he looked at the holographic image of millions of Earth people, holding candles in the dark. Put down your weapon, Tae-Soo. Elder, I said put it down. Q1's voice cracked like thunder. I was there, boy. I was there when the rift took us. I saw the terror on people's faces. I heard their screams. And I have spent 400 years telling myself that Earth abandoned us because it was easier than believing they simply could not find us. He struggled to his feet, pushing away the hands that tried to help him. I was wrong. We were all wrong. And I will not let my wrongness destroy both our peoples. Beek stared at him. Then, slowly, he lowered his weapon. You are old. You are soft. You have forgotten what strength means. He turned and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he stopped. If you want peace, have it. But I will not accept it. The fleet that follows me will not accept it. And if we cannot have Earth, we will take something else. His smile was cold and empty. The Galactic Union has watched us fight each other. They think they are safe. They are wrong. He left. His soldiers followed. Eun-Bai looked at Sujin. He has 300 ships loyal to him. If he attacks the Galactic Union, it will start a war that will destroy everything. Sujin stood. Her tears were dry now. Her eyes were hard. Then we stop him, together. In that moment, looking at each other across 10,000 years of separation, two human civilizations made a choice. Not to fight each other, but to fight for each other. The final battle was coming. Verith Prime burned. Admiral, Beek's fleet arrived at the Galactic Union capital without warning. 300 warships, all armed with weapons that no alien species had ever seen, tore through the orbital defenses like paper. Fire and debris filled the sky as space stations fell and ships exploded. In the Great Hall of the Union, alien counselors watched in horror as their world died around them. The High Speaker stood at his window, his 8 arms hanging limp at his sides. "They said humans were manageable," he whispered. "They said we could contain them." A silver-skinned aide rushed to his side. "High Speaker, we have received a message." "From Earth." "Earth?" The High Speaker turned. "What do they want? To demand our surrender?" "No, High Speaker." The aide's voice trembled with something the High Speaker had never heard before. "Hope. They say they are coming to help. Both of them." On the edge of the Verith system, the combined human fleet emerged from hyperspace. 400 ships, flying side by side Earth vessels and Wayfarer vessels together. Their hulls carried different flags. Their crews spoke with different accents, but they moved as one force. Fleet Admiral Cho-Won Shik stood on the bridge of his flagship, the U.E.'s Determination. Beside him, on a holographic screen, Commander Shin Yunbai commanded the Wayfarer Loyalist Fleet. "Status report," Won-Shik said. "Beak's fleet is engaged with the Union defenses," Yunbai replied. "He is not expecting us. We have the element of surprise." Won-Shik looked at the tactical display. Beak's ships were powerful, but they were spread thin, attacking multiple targets. If the combined fleet struck fast and hard, they could overwhelm him before he reorganized. "All ships," Won-Shik broadcast. "This is Fleet Admiral Cho. Today we fight alongside our Wayfarer brothers and sisters. I know some of you have lost friends to their weapons. I know some of them have lost friends to ours. That ends now." He paused. "Today, we are not two humanities. We are one. And we will show the galaxy what that means." On the Wayfarer flagship, Yunbai added her own words. "My people, for 10,000 years we believed we were alone. We believed Earth abandoned us. We were wrong. They searched for us. They mourned us. They never forgot us." Her voice cracked with emotion. "The enemy today is not Earth. The enemy is Admiral Beak, who would burn the galaxy rather than accept peace. We will stop him, together." The battle began. Captain Yun Dae Ho piloted his ship, the Horizon, through a storm of weapons fire. Around him, Earth and Wayfarer ships flew in formations that should have been impossible. They covered each other's blind spots. They shared targeting data. They fought like they had trained together for years, not days. Alien observers watched in disbelief. One Verith admiral, commanding what remained of the Union's defense fleet, spoke into his communicator with a voice full of awe. "Are you seeing this? They were killing each other a week ago. Now they fly like one creature with 1,000 arms." His aide replied, "Sir, they are using tactics I have never seen. Earth ships feint left, while Wayfarer ships strike right. They read each other's movements without communication. How is this possible?" The Admiral knew the answer. It was the same answer that had terrified the galaxy since this war began. Because they are the same. They think the same, fight the same, dream the same. The only thing more dangerous than a human at war is two humans working together. Admiral Beak saw the combined fleet coming. He stood on his bridge, watching his tactical display turn red with warnings. "Impossible," he said. "The Wayfarers would never fight beside Earth. They hate Earth." His first officer, a young man named Park Dong-wook, spoke quietly. "Sir, they are not fighting beside Earth. They are fighting for peace." Commander Shin broadcast the Elder Patriarch's conversation with President Ru. A fleet heard everything. "They know Earth did not abandon us." Beak's face twisted with fury. "Lies, all of it. Earth is using tricks to divide us." "Sir," Dong-wook met his admiral's eyes. "I watched the recording. I saw the candles. I saw the Wall of the Lost. My great-great-grandmother's name is on that wall. Earth remembered her. For 300 years, they remembered her. You are weak." "No, sir." I am tired. Dong-wook stepped back from his station. I will not fire on our own people. Not anymore. Beak shot him. The bridge went silent. Dong-wook fell, blood spreading across the floor. Beak looked at his remaining crew. Anyone else want to question my orders? No one spoke. Good. All ships, concentrate fire on the Wayfarer traders. If they want to die with Earth, we will grant their wish. The battle reached its peak. Ships exploded on all sides. Major Song Ji-an, promoted to colonel in the chaos of war, led a boarding team onto one of Beak's cruisers. She fought through corridors filled with smoke and screams. Her soldiers beside her, some from Earth, some from New Goryeo. Sergeant Kim Ho-jun was with her. He had survived Andara 7, survived 6 months of hell, survived nightmares that would never leave him. Now he fought shoulder to shoulder with Wayfarer soldiers who had been trying to kill him. Just weeks ago, they reached the cruiser's bridge. The Wayfarer crew surrendered without a fight. One of them, a young woman barely out of training, looked at Ho-jun with tears in her eyes. Is it true? She asked. Did Earth really remember us? Ho-jun thought about the candles, thought about the names on the wall, thought about every Remembrance Day ceremony he had attended as a child, listening to stories about the people the sky had taken. Yes, he said. We remembered. We always remembered. The young woman began to cry. Ho-jun put his hand on her shoulder. Enemy or not, she was human. She was family. Captain Daeho reached Beak's flagship. His strike team fought through wave after wave of defenders. They lost people, good people, brave people, but they did not stop. They could not stop. If Beak escaped, the war would continue. More people would die. The fragile peace between Earth and New Goryeo would shatter. They found Beak on the main bridge. He stood alone, his crew dead or fled, surrounded by screens showing his fleet being destroyed piece by piece. Admiral Beak Tae-su, Daeho said, his weapon raised. It is over. Surrender. Beak laughed. It was a hollow sound, empty of joy. Surrender? To you? I have waited my entire life for this war. My father waited. His father waited. Generations of my family, all dedicated to one purpose, bringing justice to Earth. Justice? Daeho lowered his weapon slightly. You call this justice? Millions dead. Worlds burning. Children crying for parents who will never come home. This is not justice. This is madness. Then I am mad. Beak's hand moved toward his weapon. And I will die mad. No. Daeho stepped forward. You will live. You will watch as Earth and New Goryeo build peace. You will see our children grow up together, learn together, become one people again. That is your punishment, to witness everything you fought against come true. He reached out his hand. Come home, Admiral. It is not too late. Beak stared at the hand. His face showed 1,000 emotions: rage, grief, confusion, exhaustion. He had been fighting his whole life. Fighting enemies, fighting allies, fighting the very idea of forgiveness. Maybe he was tired too. His hand trembled. Then, slowly, he took Daehee's hand. The war ended. 1 year later, the Treaty of Two Skies was signed in the rebuilt hall of the Galactic Union. President Ru Su-jin represented Earth. Elder Patriarch Jeng Q-1, carried in on a floating chair, represented New Goryeo. Around them, 41 alien species watched in silence. The High Speaker read the terms. From this day forward, Earth and New Go. Ryo recognize each other as brother nations. Citizens may travel freely between dimensions. Families separated by the rift may reunite. Humanity shall never again be divided. Su-jin and Q-1 signed the document together. Their hands touched on the pen, and they looked at each other, two leaders. Two humans, one family. In the crowd, Colonel Song Jian stood beside Commander Shin Yunbai. They had become friends during the battle, bound by shared blood and shared purpose. Yunbai held a small child on her hip, her daughter, born after the war, named Hannah after a counselor who had fought for peace when fighting was easier. Captain Yun Di-ho watched from the back of the hall. He thought about the signal that had started everything, the old Korean lullaby playing in the darkness of space. If he had ignored it, none of this would have happened. The war would have come anyway, but perhaps they would not have been ready. Perhaps they would not have understood. Perhaps they would not have remembered that they were family. The Galactic Union quietly updated its records. Humanity was reclassified from manageable concern to a new category that had never existed before. Do not engage internal conflicts exceed galactic capability. Below the classification, a note was added. Despite millennia of separation and a civil war that nearly destroyed both factions, humans demonstrated unprecedented ability to unite against a common threat. They fought themselves with terrifying efficiency, then immediately forgave and integrated. Observation suggests that humanity's greatest strength is not their technology or their numbers. It is their ability to hate intensely and love just as intensely often at the same time. Recommendation: do not give humanity a common enemy. They will find a way to become friends with each other, and then nothing will stop them. Elder Q1 visited Earth for the first time in 10,000 years. He stood on the soil of Korea, in a garden near Old Seoul, and felt the dirt beneath his feet. It was the same dirt his ancestors had walked on, the same dirt his dreams had been made of. He wept. He wept for the years lost. He wept for the anger that had poisoned his people. He wept for the beauty of a world he had thought was dead. And then he smiled, because finally, after 10,000 years of wandering, the wayfarers had found their way home. Lieutenant Kang Soo-mi, now Admiral Kong, closed the final report on the human civil war. She wrote the last words slowly, thinking about everything they had lost and everything they had gained. When humanity went to war with itself, the galaxy discovered what we always knew. There is no enemy more dangerous than our own reflection, and there is no ally more loyal than the family that finds its way back home. She put down her pen and looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth ships and wayfarer ships flew together, exploring new worlds, building new futures. One humanity, divided by time, united by blood, ready for whatever came next.